In this session, I will discuss with you a very important and interesting concept, that is how to be happy. And this discussion is on happiness at workplace. At workplace, the people are having more than the 10 hours working time in a day, and then physically, and then mentally for 24 hours, you may say, right, they are worried about their workplace. So, can we make the workplace a happy workplace, happy place to work? And then what is the happiness? What are the different factors which affect the happiness, and how we can make the workplace happy? That I will be discussing with you in this session and the next session. Now, here I would also like to mention that is this particular work has been done by my PhD scholar Roorkee Dhaya. She has worked on this particular dimension of the happiness. In this session, I will talk about the introduction, meaning of happiness, definition of happiness, theories of happiness. So, when we talk about the happiness, the word happiness is being derived from the Greek word hap, which means the chance or the fortune is there. The ancient thought of happiness not as an emotional state, but as an outcome of moral actions. This is becoming very important. So, happiness is a fruit of our karma. Whatever we do, as a result of which we get the happiness. So, happiness is outcome, and therefore, the state of happiness will derive if our actions are aligned to that happiness. But many times we find that our actions are not aligned to our output, that is the happiness. Then definitely we cannot expect the happiness. What will be the actions? That I will discuss later. Happiness is a life lived according to virtue, right, and therefore, in that case everybody wants, that is, in his life he should be very happy. Aristotle used the word eudaimonia to describe the happiness as an experience of the good life through virtuous action. A wonderful definition, and all of us will agree that is yes, that is the happiness is an experience, right, which we realize, we feel, and it is the out of the good life by our the actions, as I mentioned. Now, you see the second definition and third definition, both are talking about, that is the happiness is outcome of our actions. So, first lesson, that is, if we want to be happy, we have to be very careful about our actions. Our actions should lead to the happiness. In simple words, happiness means state of being happy, what we understand. Happiness, then there is our true happiness is an inner quality, it is a state of mind. So, therefore, many times people feel that is they are happy, but are really they are happy, right, or they are just satisfied with the goal what they wanted to achieve, but they even after the achievement of the goal they think that this was the goal which I was looking for, have I spent my whole life for this particular goal, right, and therefore, in that case that will not be the happiness, and there will be satisfaction, there will maybe the achievement, but not the happiness, and therefore, the true happiness, that is the inner quality, it is a state of mind. Another very important point has been mentioned is that is when you achieve the happiness, if your mind is at peace, you are happy. So, therefore, in that case when you are not stressful, you are not worried, you are not having any negative thought, and therefore, you have very peaceful mind, and if you are having the peaceful mind, it means that you are happy person. If your mind is at peace, but you have nothing else, you can be happy. So, therefore, another important definition is that is the if it is at the peace, that is fine, but there is nothing else, peaceful and no worries, then definitely then in that case also it will be a state of happiness. If you have everything, the world can give pleasure, if you have everything, world can give you the pleasure, maybe the possessions, maybe the power, but you lack peace of mind, you can never be happy. And therefore, even after you are having the pleasure, even after you are having the possession and power, but you will find that you are not feeling happy. So, definitions of happiness is given by Mahatma Gandhi. Happiness is when what you think, what you say and what you do are in harmony. And according to the Mahatma Gandhi, it is that is whenever what we are thinking and when we are doing and when we are saying, that is the in fact, like for example, personality job fit. So, personality job fit, what one wants to do in a particular job he wants to do, right, and then he has got that particular job, he is doing that particular job, right. So, whatever he has thought, that has converted into the reality, and if it is so, then definitely the person will be happy. Ayn Rand, happiness is that state of consciousness which proceeds from the achievement of one's values. So, therefore, for some people it is the achievement, state of achievement is a state of happiness. That is, whatever you wanted to achieve, and if you have achieved that, then definitely in that case it will be told that is the person is happy. Wayne Dyer, happiness is something that you are and it comes from the way you think, and therefore, in that case it becomes very important, that is whenever you are in the state of happiness, that is what you are, what state you are, and then what state you wanted to be, and therefore, in that case that will be the happiness. William H. Sheldon, happiness is essentially a state of going somewhere wholeheartedly, one directionally, without regret or reservation. And therefore, according to the William Sheldon, it is the wherever you are going, right, and there you are wholeheartedly going with full enjoyment, you are going there, you are going in the one direction, you have no deviations in your mind, and there is no regret for going for that particular path, then definitely that will be the happiness. Robert Ingersoll, happiness is not a reward, it is a consequence. That is, so therefore, it is the outcome of our deeds, outcome of our actions. Oscar Levant, happiness is not something you experience, it is a something you remember. So, for some persons it is the whatever you remember, and that is moment, those moments are the moments of happiness. Margaret Lee Runbeck, happiness is not a station you arrive at, but a manner of travelling. So, it is a continuous process. You can't say that is today I am happy, so tomorrow also I will remain happy, may not be. So, therefore, to be happy, it is a now and later that we can be carried on this particular happiness. George Sheehan, happiness is different from pleasure. Many people they confuse between the pleasure and happiness. Happiness has something to do with the struggling and enduring and accomplishing. So, therefore, it is not that easily achieved. It is for that particular state you have struggled a lot, and then only you have got that particular situation achievement, and enduring and accomplishing. You are doing that, and then you have the accomplished that particular objective and goal, and therefore, in that case that is the George Sheehan has done that particular given this definition, and there according to him it is not the pleasure and happiness is different. Aristotle, happiness is the meaning and the purpose of life, the whole aim and end of human existence. A very wonderful definition, and where he talk about that is the happiness is the purpose of life for which we are living. So, therefore, what we want to be in life, we want to be in the life happy, to remain happy, and therefore, in that case it is the purpose of life. Dennis Waitley, happiness is a spiritual experience of living every minute with love, grace and gratitude. Definitely it becomes very important, that is the it is not only just an experience, rather than it is the spiritual experience and of the living of every minute, that is whatever the moments we are spending, those moments are full of the love, grace and gratitude, and really when you spend like this, When you spend your life with the love, grace and gratitude, definitely you are in the state of happiness. Ergel 1989, happiness is having the three independent components: the average level of satisfaction over a specific time period. So, therefore, it is a satisfaction with life, that is the whether you are having that particular satisfaction in the life or you are not having this particular satisfaction in your life. If you are having the satisfaction of life, you are fulfilling the one state of the happiness. Second is the frequency and degree of positive effect. So, therefore, if you are having the frequently the effect of positive effect, nobody can have the positive effect continuously for long term, right. There will be ups and downs, and therefore, in that case, that is the what is that those ups and downs and frequency and degree of positive effect, that will make a difference, that is the how there is an happy independent components. And the relative absence of negative effect, that is the whatever the experience you are having, how much it is having the negative effect, such as anxiety and depression. In the life you are having the anxiety and depression, then definitely in that case it will be told that the person is not happy. So, what is required? It means that their requirement is satisfaction of life, the person is satisfied with the life. Second is that is the he is having that positive effect, and if the positive effect is there, then definitely in that case he can go with those particular positive effects, he can go and find out that is there is more and more positivity in his life. And third will be that is the absence of the negative effect, and if there is no negative effect in life, right, then definitely in that case he will towards the more positive effect and he will be more happy. So, Ergei's definition is having the three components: satisfaction with life, positive effect and negative effect, you can say PANA, right. So, therefore, in that case, because the further research is done on the basis of this particular dimensions, that is about the positive effect, negative effect and the satisfaction of life. Beethoven, happiness is the degree to which a person evaluates the overall quality if or her present life as a whole positively. So, therefore, in that case it becomes very important, that is the many times the people they are having this type of the feeling, that is they want to go for these particular quality of her present life and parameters are there, and they find if they are those parameters are fulfilled, then they are happy. If those parameters are not fulfilled, then in that case they do not feel that they are happy. So, therefore, we will talk about the psychological well-being or subjective well-being and used interchangeably in research. So, many times the happiness as word has been used, right, as a psychological well-being, and whenever we are talking about the psychological well-being or subjective well-being, what does it mean? In the psychological, Diner has given in 2000, happiness is a subjective experience. You cannot say that this is the only parameter and this is the only dimensions, it is very subjective, and scholars tends to treat happiness and those who have studied the happiness, they have treated this as a psychological well-being, means mentally they are happy, they are good well-being, or subjective well-being means that is that they with the particular parameters they feel that they are happy, and used interchangeably in research. So, as I mentioned, life satisfaction, subjective well-being, presence of positive effect and the absence of negative effect, and therefore, in that case these three parameters will be there whenever there will be the talk about the subjective happiness is there, these three dimensions, right, satisfaction, positive effect and negative effect, that will be discussed. So, what is happiness? Actually, the happiness is having the two qualitative distinct aspects. One is experienced, episode or domain specific, that is finance, family, friends, health, purpose in life, satisfaction, workplace satisfaction. So, there in that case now some people will be happy into the some parameters, some people may not be happy into some parameters, because their experience is different. For example, a person may be having the good finance condition, may not be the family, and therefore, in that case his happiness that will be very subjective. Similarly, some people have the work purpose in life satisfaction, workplace satisfaction, but may not be good health, then in that case also their happiness will be subjective. But when we talk about the global satisfaction means overall satisfaction. Whenever a person is having the overall satisfaction, we will say that he is having that particular happiness in his life, and it is called the global happiness. So, happiness can be defined. Now, when we talk about the difference between the happiness versus the satisfaction. So, happiness is defined as both the state of mind and emotions. So, therefore, in that case, if a person man can choose to be happy. So, many times we find that even person is not having the finance, but he is happy. Person may not have the good work conditions, but he is happy. So, that is why he is happy. He is choose to be happy. Whenever a person decides to choose to be happy, then definitely in that case, then he will be it will be the consequence of the happiness. It is relevant to note that even people who are poor can be happy, and that is understood. That is, as I mentioned earlier slide also, there is the person may not have the money, but he can be happy. Person may have the money, but he may not be happy. Despite the fact that not all other their needs are met, even the most basic ones are there. So, even the basic needs are not met, but in that case also you will find that is the people are happy, because they have choose to be happy, right. So, our conscious mind, subconscious mind, it decides to be happy, it choose whether to be happy or not to be happy. Satisfaction on the other hand is the state wherein your desires are met. So, therefore, on the case whenever we talk about the satisfaction is it is the meeting our desires. We will find in the possession and enjoyment of things that you desire. In fact, it too is a state of mind wherein your mind have the contentment, knowing that your demands and desires are made possible. So, whenever the demands and desires are made possible, then the person will be able to make himself happy. The another definitions which I would like to share, that is the employee happiness versus employee engagement. Employee happiness is mainly controlled by the employee. Employee happiness is an intrinsic state of being, right. As I mentioned, that is the individual employee choose to be happy, and therefore, in that case he is happy. So, he may not have the promotion, but he feels that whatever job he is doing, his job is what he wanted to do the job in his life, he is doing that master job. So, therefore, in that case it is not the question of his promotion, rather than it is a question of job description for him, and if he gets the job of his choice, then definitely in that case the employee happiness is an intrinsic state of mind and can make oneself happy. Only you can make yourself happy or unhappy. So, it is not the outer, it is not the external factors, rather than it is the intrinsic factor, and in intrinsic factor the one will decide to be happy or not happy. The given situation is like this, okay fine, what is the result? And result will be decided by the individual oneself, and therefore, he may feel happy or unhappy in response to different stimuli. It is how to choose to reply to those stimuli. So, therefore, in that case there will be different stimuli. Stimuli means financial conditions, family conditions, organizational work conditions, boss, nature of boss. So, all these are the stimuli. So, there will be the different stimuli, but the question arises, how do you respond to this stimuli? If you respond to this stimuli positively, then definitely in that case you have decided to choose happiness. But financial condition is poor, friends are not supporting, family is not having the love and affection. If these are the situations, and then you have to decide what to react and respond, and therefore, one may decide that is no, I will gain all this by my efforts, and therefore, he will feel happy, that is no, one day I will get it done. So, therefore, here the happiness is controlled by the employee by himself. The second, employee engagement. Employee engagement is largely controlled by the employer. towards a satisfying work experience and a productive activity that drives revenues. To that end, the company will recruit the right people, manage their expectations and own up to their promises by providing the employee with the whatever he or she needs in order to do their best. And therefore, in that case, so one employee may have a satisfying experience and a productive activity that drives revenues. So, if he is doing that, then definitely he will be happy, because his work experience is also good, and in the productive activity he is contributing. To that end, the company will recruit the right people, manage their expectations and own up to their promises by providing the employee with whatever she needs in order to do their best. And therefore, in that case, in doing the whatever they want to do, and if they are performing their best, then definitely they will be saying that is, yes, we are doing our best, and therefore, it is they are largely controlled by the employer, and that is why the employees are engaged, but when they are engaged they feel happy. What happiness really is are the signs of the subjective well-being. There is a big debate in psychology, can happiness be measured and will it be done objectively or subjectively? Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman believe in the objective assessment of the happiness, which could be gathered from average out multiple assessment of people's moods over a period of time. So, therefore, we can measure the moods of the employees, and when there is a multiple assessment of the people moods over a period of time, we can find out that is the yes the persons they are happy or they are not happy. So, there is sufficient level of affluence, so quality of life is becoming more important. Now, here whenever we are talking about the happiness at work life, people talk about the quality of life, whether that quality of life is satisfactory or not, and that matters of economics prosperity. And quality of life means that is whether the person is able to get the materialistic achievements or not. If he is able to get the materialistic achievement, maybe the economic prosperity, then definitely in that case he will be happy at his workplace. Personal happiness is becoming more and more important because growing trends towards individualism. But however, the another side, one side the quality of life is becoming more important, while the other side it is the personal happiness is important, and therefore, in that case this growing trends towards the individualism, right, that is becoming the more important, and the persons are feeling happy, because in individualism their earning is felt is much more than what do they have, because their expenditures are less, because they are believing in individualism. But when if they are into the collectivism, this money will be shared, and therefore, in that case the person may not feel that much happy. So, therefore, this individualism that has caused them to be the happy. Finally, a number of valid and reliable measures, right, there are so many measures are there, and in those measures, that is whether they are valid or not, that theirs have been developed, which are allowed to study of well-being to establish itself as a serious and recognized discipline. So, what is required? There is requirement of the valid and reliable measures. If you are having the valid and reliable measures, then definitely in that case you can identify whether the person is happy or not, because when we talk about the happiness, happiness is becoming subjective. So, quality of life is becoming more important, that becomes the subjective. Personal happiness is more important, and that is again the personal happiness varies from individual to individual, and therefore, in that case this growing trend towards the individualism, that will make the definition of happiness from person to person. So, therefore, what is required? There should be a valid measure to find out whether the person is happy or not. The albino in the workplace happiness, happiness focuses on the individual experience of the human conditions at work. It measures how well an individual's experience job which supports psychological well-being and pursuit of happiness is there. So, therefore, in that case, and now we talk about the workplace happiness. So far we have talked about that is the why to study the happiness, what is the happiness is there, and at the workplace how the happiness that is becoming the different for the different people. So, in Albino's definition, the individual experience of the human conditions at work. So, at work For example, somebody wants the autonomy, and if he gets the autonomy, he will be happy. Somebody wants the perks, so then in that case he will be happy. Here you will, in this slide you will find that somebody wants to have the work environment. If the work environment support is there, I have discussed in my previous session, and the forgiveness, that is the support of the workplace, support at the workplace, and if the support at the workplace is there, then definitely in that case the person will be happy. So, some persons will be with the communication. So, therefore, in that case, if the persons they are having the proper communication with each other, then definitely in that case they will be happy. Or there can be the development, and development is that is the growth, promotion, and for them that is becoming the workplace, at the workplace that is becoming the measure of the happiness. For some people it is the value. So, therefore, value based, whether the person is having that value or not, if the person's values are matching with the values of the organization, then definitely in that case the person will feel happy. So, therefore, what is becoming important is that is the every individual is having the different recognition, right. So, what is those recognitions? The recognition means for themselves, recognition for others, and recognition of communication. So, some persons will be very happy if they are having the proper communication at the workplace and frequent communication is there. They have been involved and they are involving others. If this type of communication is there, then they will feel happy. Some of them, as I mentioned, that is they will be the balanced one. Balanced one will be the people, those who are having this type of the expectations at the workplace, that is the something will go right, something will may go wrong, and therefore what they have to do? They have to balance the both experiences. So, workplace happiness it is the individual's experience of the individual at the workplace, and how this individual's experience is there. Individual's experience is depending upon whether his work has been recognized or not, organization has recognition for their work or not. If organization has the recognition for their work, then definitely in that case they will feel happy, but not all. Many times organizations recognitions are non-monetary rewards, and if the non-monetary rewards are there, person may not feel happy, and then in that case what is required? That is the work environment that is required to be changed. So, whenever we talk about the personality job fit, and in the personality job fit it becomes very important, that is the what type of work environment a person is looking for. Some persons are looking for the very highly progressive and development type of environment, some persons may not. And if some persons do not want the materialistic value, but they want the peace of mind, that whatever job they are doing, they should be allowed to do that job. So, they have value systems, the values are freedom and flexibility, and if the value system is freedom and flexibility, but there is no freedom, there is no flexibility, but you are giving a lot of money salary to the employee, will employee will retain? No, employee will not retain. As soon as he will find the value for him into the another organization to make the feel the happiness, he will create the value systems according to the demand of the workplace, and then if he fulfill those demands, he will be really happy. But if he does not fulfill those demands, then in that case there will be the conflict in the organizational value systems and the individual's value system. So, workplace happiness, normally people want perks, people want work environment, some people want recognition, some people want proper communication, some people want they should be developed, some people have the value based strategies, but what is required? A balance is required. A balanced approach to be happy is required as per the individual's expectations from time to time, and if they are having the proper expectations on time to time, then and the fulfillment of those expectations, because their actions lead to those achievement of goals, and if those goals are achieved, actions are aligned, I am sure the persons will be happy at their workplace. So, this is all about the introduction of the workplace happiness. Thank you.